He was short. I don't, my memory of him, I don't think he changed that much from my memories of him as from when I was little to older. His hair never went gray. He always complained because he said that people, that the other Yiddish writers were accusing him of coloring his hair, and but he had a kind of youthful look. He was um, he was handsome. He was, as I said, short. Very. He walked around at home in a kind of rumpled shirt and sweater vest, sometimes a tie, always. Um, the idea of leisure attire was not in his life. And I don't know physically what else to say, despite his height, but all his friends were short also, so it wasn't like, except he made himself felt. I was going to say the one exception. Do you mind that I'm
No,
rambling and
great.
kind of free associating? One of my father's closest friendships, and probably one of the most important ones in his life, was with the writer Zalman Shneur, who was a Yiddish writer. I think it was Noah Padre. No, I don't remember the name of the novel. And a poet in Yiddish and in Hebrew. And Shneur had Shneur was huge, and actually I know that some of his writing in Yiddish is looked at because he was one of the first to talk about the physicality of Jews. He wrote about more of the workmen. It wasn't just the shtetl scholars and yeshiva students that he wrote about. It was the big lumbering guys. And he himself was a very imposing physical man, big, very stern. Anyway, he was tremendously respected as a Yiddish writer, and he was very important to my father. So Zalman Shneur was a very much everyday part of my life as a child. I don't know if Henry remembers him that well, but and Schneer's daughter Renee was a flamenco dancer, and she traveled a lot. And I remember going up to that apartment and spending hours with her, going through her trunk of costumes, and just thinking she was, the coolest thing. But anyway, he and my father has all these stories of them in New York going to a French restaurant called Fleur de Lis on 67th Street. Shneur was over 6 feet, and my father was just under 5 feet, and they were a team. And I remember the day that Shneur died. I was in 5th grade, because I remember it happened, I think, a few weeks before my grandmother died. I remember my father coming up to the apartment. Maybe it was a weekend because I wasn't at school. But he went down every morning for the newspaper and whatever, and he came back, and I remember he was like white. Schneer's gestorben, that he died. That was a really, he was very important in my father's life.